After the runaway success of the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, Sega truly did strike gold. They split Sonic Team right down the middle into two separate teams. The real Sonic team would come over to the US and would develop what we would eventually know as Sonic the Hedgehog 2. While the half of Sonic team that stayed behind would stay in Japan and would develop what would eventually become known as Sonic CD. Now, with Sonic 2 releasing in 1992, it, similarly as the first game, became an immediate runaway success, topping all the sales chart, making Nintendo look like fucking posers over here. Sonic the Hedgehog, in just 2 games, not including the 2 Game Gear titles, in just 2 mainline entries on the Sega Genesis, completely dethroned Nintendo's Mario as the Mr. Video Game. Hell, Sega themselves briefly overthrew Nintendo as Mr. Video Game, period. There's a time period where instead of calling everything a Nintendo, your parents might have called everything a Sega. That's how popular Sonic made the Sega brand. And like all good sequels, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 had a couple mission statements right out the door that it had to do. For starters, it needed to introduce some form of multiplayer for all those kids who sadly are stuck with a little sibling. And in turn, they also wanted to introduce just a cute little sidekick to follow Sonic around, not only for 2-player, but also to begin to expand the world that Sonic lives in. Expand the Sonic universe into something that really could rival Nintendo and any one of their fucking Mario knockoffs. And any other company's Mario knockoffs. The second mission statement was to improve Sonic 1 in every single way. Make the game faster, make the game cooler, put in more spectacle, get rid of that stupid ass platforming, nah. In this game, you start at the top of the hill and the entire level design is in a downhill slope, motherfucker. Yeah, you're just gonna have to hold the right button, you're gonna be running, there's no level design, it's a straight line. Do a couple of loop-de-loops, we might ask you to jump once or twice over a spike that you're just gonna run into and push against like a dumbass. I mean, we originally had a mechanic where you're gonna bounce off of it and fall down on your ass like a dumbass because you suck, but then we're like, no, it slows down the game too much. Come on, make him go faster, give him a go fast button! Speed, speed, speed! But yes, with the introduction of the spin dash, gone is slowly, methodically platforming through levels, with speed being the reward for being good at the game, and instead now we have just hold down, mash the A button, and go fast instantly. Granted, the spin dash isn't an immediate go fast, as eventually your momentum will run out, unless you're going downhill, in which case it's kind of just going to carry on for a little while. But in general, Sonic 2 is a much faster game. As, during the development of Sonic 1, Yuji Naka, the main creator of the series, kind of suffered from motion sickness while playing Sonic 1's level design because of just how fast Sonic was going. So, they toned it back and put a hard speed cap limit on Sonic to ensure that no matter what, players don't get too motion sick while playing it. For Sonic 2, fuck that speed limit! Does it look like Sonic goes 55 in a school zone? Hell nah, bitches, he goes like 147, 69, 420. Yeah, fuck you, bitches. Don't do school and stay in drugs, kids. And while Sega was already at it, streamlining the entire game down to a simple level design format that they could simply drag and drop to make levels quickly, and in turn able to make twice as many levels as in the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, they also wanted to streamline the way you collected the Chaos Emeralds. Now, with a shiny 7th Emerald, and passing a checkpoint with 50 rings, halting all your progress and jumping into the sparkly little circle, you're able to enter the Sonic 2 Half-Pipe Special Stages. Instead of slowly going through a rotating maze of challenges to get to the Chaos Emerald, now all you have to do is get to the end of the special stage with the number of rings required 3 times and you get the Emerald. And after collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds with just a little bit of inspiration from Dragon Ball Z, which, by the way, if I remember correctly, I believe the first issue with Goku going super debuted at like December 1991. And that is kind of what inspired Super Sonic to be the reward for the Chaos Emeralds, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was like the same year as Sonic 1, which I find pretty cool, you know? Kind of art imitating life, and life imitating art in a way. Anyways, all that aside, Super Sonic was introduced as a 100% reward, because quite frankly, getting all the Chaos Emeralds was completing the game at that point. Which means you can go even faster, baby! Ooh, now you're 2 times as fast, you jump 2 times as high, your air momentum is 2 times as quick, your traction is negative 20-something, and now you go from beating the first level in only 35 seconds to beating it in 5 minutes, because guess what, bitches? We put exactly 7 checkpoints in the entirety of Emerald Hill Zone, which means you can go from beating Chemical Plant in only like 30 seconds to beating it in like 15 seconds with Super Sonic, bitches. And then, you know, they also simplified the boss fights to be super spammable. Because in Sonic 1, well, yes, you were good at a boss, you could defeat it relatively quickly. With Sonic 2, almost all of the bosses in the game can be cheesed with Super Sonic, and even with regular Sonic just using the spin dash. Hell, the final fucking boss in the game, you can just cheese with the spin dash by completely taking out Mecha Sonic in only 2 spin dashes, and then you can speed up the Death Egg fight by, you know, spin dashing in the Death Egg robot whenever he lands after a big jump. So, to recap, Sonic is faster. You can get all 7 Chaos Emeralds faster. The bosses go down faster. Your reward for all the Chaos Emeralds is going faster. The only thing that really bogs down the game here, in terms of going fast as motherfucking fuck, is the fact that to enter the special stages, you have to halt all your momentum and jump into the checkpoint. So, yeah, way to go, guys. Really fast game. Also, you have to carry 50 rings with you at all times and platform through the levels incredibly slowly to get to the checkpoints, which oftentimes mean that checkpoints are placed in very inconvenient places tucked away in corners in the level design where you won't normally go, instead requiring you to halt all of your momentum to look for one fucking checkpoint. Also, don't forget, because you have to carry 50 rings to that checkpoint, first you have to get the rings, and then you have to slowly run through the level, making sure you don't get hit by any enemies or hazards to hold on to your rings to make it to the checkpoint. And once you make it to the checkpoint and jump inside the checkpoint, then you have to do the fucking special stages. And because the fucking depth perception in a Sega fucking Genesis in 1992 is so fucking bad, what ends up happening is you're gonna spend the entirety of Emerald Hill just finding checkpoints to complete the first 3 special stages, the entirety of Chemical Plant not finding a fucking checkpoint, the entirety of Aquatic Ruin being stuck in the water hating yourself until you game over and have to restart the whole fucking game again, in which case, by the time you make it back to Aquatic Ruin, you're gonna spend the entirety of your lives either dying and gaming over, or eventually getting the 4th fucking Chaos Emerald, in which case you're gonna spend the entire rest of the game trying to get the last 3! Unless you played the game on a modern console with save states, or the ability to restart the level by wasting a life, or a save file, or fucking Sonic Origins where you can just use a currency to restart the level and you get like 3 of the currency for an extra life, and you get like 10 of them if you get enough rings or an extra life in a special stage. So all you have to do is like run around Sonic 3 Blue Spheres a couple times, get a couple perfects on the first one, and boom! You have over 1,000 coins you can use to plow through the Sonic 2 version of the special stage, which at that point you don't even need the coins, because the depth perception is so much better, you can actually see when the rings and bombs are coming up to you so you can react to them better. In other words, if Sonic 1 special stages were a test of your platforming and ability to not fucking throw up when looking at a fish and turning into a bird, turning into another fish, while rotating, while collecting the Chaos Emeralds in a maze, if that was considered lame, stinky, slow gameplay, yeah, Sonic 2's so much fucking better considering I'm gonna spend every fucking playthrough in the first zone just trying to get the Chaos Emeralds, which don't even give you anything outside of Super Sonic, just so that way I can finally start progressing the game, just to game over and have to redo it all over again because there's no fucking save files. Not to mention the only way to do the fucking special stages back in Sonic 2 on the Genesis is to pretty much memorize the level design for every special stage. All of that to say, I really like the Sonic 2 special stages. I do like them over the Sonic 1 special stages. I don't like the way that you enter them, having to slow down and hunt for a checkpoint, as not only does that interrupt the flow that Sonic 2 very much tries its damnedest to give you. This game tries so fucking hard to make you go, 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 that's in order... Why the fuck is someone's horn blowing? What the I hope that does... I hope you can't hear that. Anyways, Sonic 2 tries so fucking hard to make you go, 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 that when you go, 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 you miss all the Chaos Emeralds, which means you have a harder time on some of the bosses. God damn, I am out of breath from that. So to keep with the theme of the video, I'm trying to do all of this in one take, because, you know, I spent so much time rambling in the first one, now I'm trying to do this one as fast as possible, and it's not working out. Fuck. Anyways, I think that getting the Chaos Emerald slows down the game a lot, unless you know exactly what you're doing, because you've played the game like 10 billion times like I have, or any other classic Sonic purist have. I fucking hate those people, by the way. Fucking hate them. But, you know, if you've memorized every special stage and you know exactly where to get the checkpoints, then yeah, great, congratulations, you can get all the Chaos Emeralds super easily and still beat all of the levels under 1 minute. But at that point, what's the point in even getting the Emerald and unlocking Super Sonic? You don't get a secret final boss, you don't get an extra bonus level that's like really fun and really rewarding. Super Sonic himself is barely rewarding in any of the game because first you have to recollect 50 rings and then activate Super Sonic, and by that point the level's either fucking over or then you have to go through like a really long drawn out boss fight, which either A will be easier or B you're just gonna run out of rings and then be stuck with no rings in a boss fight. Or it's a really long level like Metropolis, and honestly Super Sonic makes it harder. What I'm getting at is, if you're good enough to get Super Sonic, you're good enough to run through the entire game without Super Sonic, and it'll be so easy, it'll feel like you pretty much have invincibility and increased speed. So then what's the point? I feel like that might be like an overall design flaw with the idea of Super Sonic. You know, just being like this invincible, super fast reward for being good at the game, but your reward for being good at the game is being good at the game and doing all the things that Super Sonic gives to you right off the bat. With the only difference is, as an unexperienced player is going to fight like how to unlock Super Sonic, and in turn, they're essentially going to become a Super Sonic. It's one little flaw that I haven't ever really noticed till now, till I literally started recording this segment of the video. But getting into the rest of Sonic 2, in terms of the actual level design, well, yes, I did make my point very clear in the Sonic 1 video that I prefer how Sonic 1 is much more of an actual video game compared to Sonic 2 being a fucking NASCAR track, vroom, going down in a fucking line in a straight line, going down a hill in a straight line, I mean. Despite me clearly preferring actual level design, Sonic 2 isn't bad. I like it. In fact, I would rate Sonic 2 as a much better game than Sonic 1 if it wasn't for the fact that Sonic 2 can't even stick to its own design philosophy of going straight downhill, going as fast as possible. Because by the time we get to Casino Night Zone, Sega's clearly running out of ideas to make just straight downhill level design fun. Emerald Hill Zone goes by so fucking fast you don't even realize what happened. Fuck, my brain is melting. I need water. And then with Chemical Plant, similarly to Emerald Hill, if you take the right pathway, the level is done in 30 seconds. If you don't, you're gonna beat the level in a minute. And if you somehow completely fuck up and get stuck in the water, you're just gonna drown and game over without ever seeing the rest of the game. Aquatic Ruin Zone is exactly the same. If you take the top path, you're done in a minute. If you take the middle path, you're gonna fucking hate your experience playing the level. And if you're like most people and get stuck in the bottom path on your first playthrough or even multiple playthroughs, you're either gonna drown and game over, never being able to see the rest of the game, or you're just gonna lose interest, because yeah, 2 semi-water levels back to back. Great choices, Sega. And then we get to Casino Night Zone, which is literally just giant pinball tables with maybe 2 enemies in the entirety of the 2-act zone. And then there's a fucking boss fight at the end. Like, you don't even register what's happening because you're just going. You have the slow elevators from Spring Yard Zone in Sonic 1. You have the crushing blocks also from Spring Yard Sonic 1. Then you also have like the new pinball gimmicks where you have to pull back on the little thingy by holding the jump button and then shoot yourself through a loop-de-loop just to be shot into a pinball table, in which case you're going to bounce around for a little bit. And while I do like Casino Night Zone and I do think it's really fun, again, this is the first sign that Sega kind of lost interest with the design philosophy they already established for Sonic 2 in the first 3 zones, that now they're just kind of throwing whatever at the wall and see what sticks. Which brings us to Hilltop Zone. It's kind of like a halfway mixture between an actual level and fucking Emerald Hill Zone. Because a lot of the time they try to send you like it's a Emerald Hill Part 2, but then you get stopped inside the mountain with all the lava segments and the slow elevators and having the lava rising and having to slowly do platforming because you're waiting for a door to open while lava rises. And then if you get, if you don't do it right, then you're just stuck waiting around even more. Which, then goes into Oil Ocean, I believe. No, not Oil Ocean. Then it's Mystic Cave, which is the worst offender for how the checkpoints work in this game. Because if you're just running through the normal top or bottom route, you might see 1 checkpoint on a casual playthrough. If you're going through and hunting for the emeralds, then yeah, you're probably going to find all the checkpoints. The problem is, a normal player needs a checkpoint for whenever they inevitably die to either a bottomless pit they can't avoid, a bottomless pit that ends in a spike trap they can't escape, or they get crushed by the many fucking crushing objects that also move slowly and slow down the pace of your gameplay. You're going to restart back at the beginning of the level again. Which really does infuriate first-time players, especially since you were just running around completely lost, because as far as you know, all the game has taught you to do is hold right and jump, and eventually you'll beat the level. I kid you not, as a kid, I used to get lost in Mystic Cave, just running around trying a bunch of different areas, because I didn't know what I was doing. Emerald Hill taught me just hold right and win. Chemical Plant told me if going right doesn't work, try going left and then right again. And every other level after that taught me just hold right on the D-pad and pray it works. So by the time I make it to Mystic Cave, if going right didn't work, then surely I must go left, and now you're back at the start of the level. I'm sure that could have just been a me thing when I was a kid first playing Sonic 2, but I'd hate to know how many people struggled with Mystic Cave, and that was just kind of a roadblock for them for so long. After spending so long trying to make it through the first 3 zones, because Aquatic Ruin and Chemical Plant just had to be semi-water levels. Which then brings us to Oil Ocean, which is an entirely gimmick-filled level. Essentially, if you get stuck on the bottom round and fall in the Oil Ocean, well, you're slowly gonna drown until you manage to hop back onto a platform, in which case you have to platform to the top of the level just to finally hold right, to then be sent down a bunch of gimmicks. Like having to stand on platforms that are set on a time limit before they raise and then fall back down again, so you have to be quick on your feet. But if you're too quick on your feet, Sonic's fucking icy feet are gonna slip right off and you're gonna fall into either a bed of spikes, an enemy trap on a previous part of the level, which now means you gotta platform back up to where you were, or now you're lost again and now you're dying or you're getting crushed, because again, this is another level that just loves to fucking crush you to death. Or you're getting completely turned around ass backwards because of the fucking cannon things that shoot you all around the level. Which, well, yes, me as a grown-ass man knows that these show me the way forward, but as a little kid, you're fucking lost and confused now! So what the fuck is it, game? Am I supposed to hold right and win? Which I don't like, because I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of Sonic as a series. Or do you want to be a genuine game with platforming and interesting ideas for gimmick levels? Which is it? Okay, so that gets us through the entire game, and now it's time for the grand finale, Metropolis Zone. All 3 long, miserable acts of it. Act 1 I can tolerate. Act 2 gets really fucking annoying. But Act 3, God bless America, that fucking Act 3 really tests your fucking patience. And the worst part, as a kid, I made it to Metropolis Act 3 once. I thought I was on the final level of the game. I tried my damnedest to beat that damn level as a little kid. I couldn't do it. And then I gamed over, and I was so upset because I lost all of my progress to fucking Metropolis Zone 3. And I thought that was the end of the game. I thought I did it. I thought that was the very end. I thought I was gonna fight the final boss, but no! The game keeps going for another 3 levels. Which brings us to, in my opinion, one of my favorite parts about Sonic 2, that being Sky Chase. Sky Chase is such a calm and relaxing calm before the storm. You just went through hell getting through Metropolis. And you kinda went through hell just to get past the start of the game. You had to go through, 3 levels of crushing deaths over and over again because the level design hates you. And so now, you can just simply sit back and relax. All you have to do in Sky Chase is just jump to attack the enemies and avoid the projectiles, which move slowly, which gives you plenty of time to avoid them. There's plenty of rings, and it's just nice and calming. All you have to do is wait for 2 minutes and beat the level. I don't even think it's 2 minutes. I think it's like 1:35 or something. Anyways, my point being, all you have to do is calm down, take a deep breath, and enjoy the ride, before you're then thoroughly thrust into Wing Fortress, the final true level of the game. It's 1 act, and it is hell on earth. So, unless you know that you can abuse the fans to skip entire chunks of levels and to essentially skip to the final segment, all you need to do is damage boost through a fan blade to do some very tight moving platforming that disappear under you if you take too long, on top of conveyor belt platforming, which will take you directly towards the end of the level. Unless you know to do all of that, you are literally going to spend the entire level running in a circle. Not to mention, there's like this one segment where you have to like jump around the scaffolding, and also if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to spend another entirety of the level just running around in a big circle trying to figure out where to go. Essentially, Wing Fortress is just like 2 giant circles meant to confuse first-time players. And hell, I don't even think that the proper way to get through the level is to damage boost. I think there's some shortcut somewhere you're intended to take. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. I just damage boost through the fan blades and pray to God I don't fall and fail the platforming like a dumbass. Then there's a fucking boss fight, which you can easily die by being crushed and then losing your rings, and the rings fall out of the arena where you can't get to them. So then you just end up fucking dying over and over and over again until you came over and start all the way back at the beginning! But you finally did it. You beat the boss, and now you're back on the tornado. Tails, how the fuck did you fix that so fast? But you're back on it, you're chasing Eggman, you're holding onto his rocket ship, and you make it to Death Egg. Oh, this has to be it. That has to be the longest, hardest level in the whole game, and holy shit, is that a Sonic robot? That's so dope, dude. And wow, yeah. I gamed over 4 fucking times. So, fun story, I didn't beat Sonic 2 or get all the Chaos Emeralds to the mobile port of Sonic 2 on my phone in, like, I don't know, I think it was 2017 when I did this. I made it all the way through that slog of the game, constantly gaming over in all the places I used to as a kid, minus Aquatic Ruin and Chemical Plant, because I actually got good from beating Sonic 1 on my DS with Screen Crunch with all the Chaos Emeralds. So yeah, I did it. I was proud of myself. I made it to fucking Mecha Sonic, Silver Sonic, whatever you want to call them. And I kid you not, I gamed over like 20 fucking times on Mecha Sonic alone before I ever beat him and made it to the Death Egg Robot. And eventually, I did learn the trick where all you have to do is just spin dash under where Mecha Sonic lands the first time, get about like 3 or 4 hits off, go to the other side of the arena, and whenever he starts revving his spikes again, just, you know, spin dash inside of him until he curls into a ball. And then boom, you're done. You beat him. All you have to do is spin dash twice and he's dead. Which then leads you to the Death Egg Robot with like 16 hits, no rings. And if you die, you then have to redo the Mecha Sonic fight, which even if you know the trick to beat it super fast, you can still mess up, you can still waste your lives, and considering even in like the Sonic 2 mobile port, all you have is 3 lives before you game over, and then the game completely shuts down and you have to restart it. Granted, you don't start back from Emerald Hill again, but it was just like a little annoyance to have to go through the game over screen, and the game restarts back to the title screen over and over again. I don't know. Just a quality of life thing. Anyways, you finally did it. You learned whenever he jumps and lands, you can manipulate him to land in the corner, spin dash when his big old belly hits the ground, run away, jump back at him a couple times whenever he bends down to jump again. Bada bing, bada boom, you did it! You killed the Death Egg Robot, and then you finally get to see Sonic fall. Unless you got all the chaos in which the cutscene changes to show Sonic just flying as Super Sonic. Fun! Great! Awesome! Wonderful! Amazing! It's gay. I don't know, I really do like Sonic 2, but comparing it to Sonic 1, yes, there's twice as many levels, but I'd also say there's twice as many levels I don't like. For comparison, there are all of Sonic 1's 6 zones, 3 acts, and 6 special stages. I'd say there's really only one special stage I flat out despise, and that's like number 4. That's the one that's just a big open area, and all you have to do is really just make sure you don't get pinballed into the exit goals. And in terms of the main levels, I mean, I guess Scrap Brain Act 3 can be annoying until you figure out how to take the shortcut at the start of the level, which takes you right to the end of the level. But even then, you know, even if you know that, first-time players are going to struggle. First-time players are going to struggle on the entirety of Labyrinth and Scrap Brain. And Spring Yard is just kind of an annoying zone because of how much it forces you to slow down, as opposed to all the zones before and after, where yes, you can slow down for the obstacles, or you can learn how they work and platform through them twice as fast, not even breaking your speed in the slightest. Now, comparing that to Sonic 2, where, well, yes, some zones in Sonic 1 can be annoying, but after getting good at the game, honestly, I wouldn't say there's a single bad level in the game. I would say they're just much more challenging levels compared to the rest of the game. In Sonic 2, I can't really say something like Metropolis Zone 2 and 3 are challenging levels as much as they are bullshit levels with terrible enemy placement purposefully designed to kill you over and over, just to kind of pad out game time. I just feel like there's more annoyances that don't have to be annoying in Sonic 2, like the entirety of Oil Ocean. Yes, it's not really that bad of a level, it's just one of those levels that when you're playing through the game, you're like, oh yeah, that was so fun. You know, Hilltop wasn't that bad, you know, Mystic Cave wasn't that bad, all you gotta do is push the jump button. But then you get to Oil Ocean and you're just kinda like, oh, yeah, you know, that level, remember? Oil Ocean from Sonic 2? Yeah, I think I'm gonna turn off the Genesis now. I think I'm just gonna hit save state and come back to this another day. And next time you want to play Sonic 2, instead of continuing your save file, you just go ahead and hit reset on the fucking emulator you're using and start all over again from Emerald Hill. Because you really don't like to play Oiled Ocean or Metropolis, but you know everything after that isn't that bad. Everything before that is great. But once you get to that chunk of the game, you just don't want to play it. And for me, sitting down and playing through a Sonic game all in one sitting, or at least most of it in one sitting, I feel like is a good measure of how much fun you're having with the game. And for me, I can easily sit through the entirety of Sonic 1 in one go. I can sit down in the game and 100% it in one go and have a blast. Playing Sonic 1 is fun. When it comes to Sonic 2, I really only have fun with some of the levels. And I feel like that's a theme that continues on as we go through the Genesis Sonic games. Sonic 1, I could play every level and be happy. You can make me play any one of those levels 100 times in a row, I can be happy. Make me play any level of Sonic 2 100 times in a row, depending on what level you give me, I may or may not have a blast. If you give me any level from Emerald Hill up until Hilltop, yeah, I can have fun. Maybe not, 100 times with Hilltop Acts 1 or 2, but I can at least have fun with every level of the first 4 zones, and I can make some fun in Hilltop. I can explore new routes I've never gone before. Asked me to play Mystic Cave 100 times? Okay, well, if you count Hidden Palace as part of Mystic Cave, then yeah, I guess I can do that 100 times. But that's only in the most modern versions and Origins and the mobile port. Not in any other version of the game. I really don't. I kind of refuse to play Oil Ocean 100 times, but if you put a gun to my head, I guess I can. Metropolis, I'm just going to tell you to pull the fucking trigger. I'll be happy doing Sky Chase, I might get a little bored eventually. Wing Fortress, I'll stop at 50. You let me take like a couple days to bleach my eyes and ears and I can do the other 50. Death Egg, I could do that in my fucking sleep. So, in terms of ranking just how fun the overall game is by how much I don't hate playing any of the levels, yes, Sonic 1 takes it as the top spot. Do I think Sonic 2 is objectively better? Yes. When it comes to the Sonic formula, When it comes to speed being the reward and all, I feel like Sonic 2 kind of falls a little flat in that aspect. Because, well, yes, I did mention that does very much still exist, with Supersonic being the reward for all the Chaos Emeralds. But by the time you get good enough to get all the Chaos Emeralds and not immediately die in the next zone, you might as well be Supersonic from the start of the game because you're already pretty much an expert at everything the game can throw at you at that point. So while yes, it does still exist, it's clearly not in the same way it existed in Sonic 1. When it comes to Sonic 2 following its own level design philosophy that they had from the start to be an improvement over Sonic 1, as I said, it starts out really great, but it kind of wavers after the first 3 zones, and they kind of just start throwing shit at the wall because they don't know what'll work. Because again, remember, instead of filling out 6 zones, now they're having to fill out 12. So, all in all, I don't remember what rating I gave Sonic 1. I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10. I'd probably give Sonic 2 a similar 9 out of 10. To be more specific, Sonic 1 like a 9.8, Sonic 2 like a 9.7. Again, objectively, I'd say Sonic 2 is better. Objectively, in every single way, it is such a good game. And when it comes to like the first time player experience, more than likely, unless you're a little kid, you're going to be able to get much farther through Sonic 2 than you can through Sonic 1 before you start to have trouble. I'd imagine most players who are good at video games and this is their first run through Sonic 2, I imagine most players will make it through at least Hilltop before they either want to take a break or they just kind of hit a wall and they're not having fun anymore. I understand Sonic 1, you're probably going to hit a wall pretty soon by like the 3rd zone with Spring Yard. But the point is, Spring Yard isn't that bad. All you have to do is be patient. With Sonic 2, the game tells you go, 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 but then out of nowhere you're told to stop and wait, which not only interrupts the flow of the game, making it less fast than Sonic 1 overall, because at least Sonic 1 was consistently go and stop. It just kind of creates a weird feeling in some of the levels, which then kind of interrupts your flow, which makes you stop having fun in some cases. like off and on every now and then. As soon as I hit Hilltop, I'll just want to turn the game off because of how bad the game holds its pace. So with all of that ramming out of the way, again, still an awesome game that I'd give a perfect 9 out of 10 to, but I'd say Sonic 1 is still, if I had to choose one Genesis Sonic game to play, I'm gonna pick Sonic 1 first. Come back to Sonic 2 later and only run through like the first 5 zones. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear back and get some feedback on this.